Hi, it's Aletha, vegan vlog. I don't know what number I'm on. But I want to talk about something today that is kind of a controversial or sensitive subject that's come up a lot for me. I just got back from a trip and had a lot of great conversations with people. And people asking me questions about veganism, and one of the discussions that I get into a lot with people is about companion animals. Being somebody who identifies as an abolitionist vegan, it kind of follows that companion animals are another way that humans use animals for their own purposes, for like emotional support, and ideally, based on principle, not reality, we would not have domesticated companion animals. However, this is what I want to talk about. This is Indy. Say hi, Indy. Indy's mama is a stray cat. So he was almost a feral kitty, and so was his brother, Pixel, who was playing with some yarn. And if I had just let them be feral cats, they would have gone off and reproduced and made more cats, and on and on. And what I'm trying to get at is that domestic animal overpopulation is a really big issue. For every human born in the United States, there are about 8 cats born. And most of those cats, this is a problem with dogs too, but cats, I guess because they have bigger litters and they reproduce fairly quickly, the overpopulation is a really big problem, and it has an impact on wildlife and the natural environment, besides not being very good for the cats. So this is a human-created problem. And the only way that I see, personally, to have a role in correcting this problem in a compassionate way is to be a guardian for these animals and make sure that they don't reproduce. I realize I'm making that decision for them, so they're not reproducing. But overpopulation is a problem. Overpopulation of humans is a problem. That's a whole other issue, and that's the reason a lot of people use contraception and choose not to have children, like myself. So some people may think that having pets is hypocritical for a vegan. I know in my last vlog I talked about how PETA is a welfarist organization, and to some extent taking care of domestic animals is a welfarist practice, but I do it with the intention that this is helping the pet population in some way to come under control. It's kind of the same idea that domestic animals, like farm animals, their population would be controlled once the demand for them is less. So that's just one little topic. Another thing that comes up is people always ask me, are your cats vegan? Well, my cats are mostly vegan. I feed them vegan kibble, and I mix it with human baby food for flavor. And for a while I thought that they were vegan, but it turns out that one of the ingredients in the baby food I was buying had chicken in it. And I've since realized that they prefer that, naturally. So I don't want to support the commercial pet food industry that uses animal byproducts that are unfit for even anybody's consumption. And my cats are pretty healthy, and they seem happy for it. So they get a small amount of meat, human-grade meat, and the rest of their diet is nutritionally complete. It meets the same standards, taurine and all the essential nutrients that they need. They've passed the food that they eat is called Evolution. It's passed all the requirements for pet food. So it's nutritionally the same thing, except that it's sourced from plants. And I also keep an eye on their pH and give them yeast and seaweed supplements. So I know that that's not always a popular choice, but again, it's a way to not support the commercial animal food industry. One more thing, I wanted to answer a question, or a comment rather. Some people have been posting very intelligent, nice comments on some of my vlogs. This question, somebody asked on the PETA video about they couldn't understand why vegans distance themselves from PETA if PETA is actually seems to be making baby steps towards animal liberation. They're not making steps towards animal liberation. That was kind of my point. They're making people more comfortable with exploiting animals by passing welfarist reforms. That's my stance. And also I wanted to point out, because it made me think about it, that as an ethical vegan, I recognize that my position is not really necessarily a pragmatic or realistic position, and it's more about an ideal and a principle. And to quote Ingrid Newkirk of PETA, she says, "Screw the principle." I don't say screw the principle. I say try to live in line with it as much as you can, and that's all you can really do for yourself. Also, in some of these conversations, I try really not to be dogmatic or convert or push people. I'm simply trying to create discourse and get people thinking about, just being more conscious of their role, because I know that I'm not going to change anybody's mind. Nobody changed my mind until I changed my mind, and I think that the only way that we can make progress for animals is to allow the conversation to happen organically and allow people to explore these questions. Like I may have qualms or not be sure about certain aspects of my stance as a vegan, but I sort of just err to the side of caution. For me, that works. I'm okay with that. It doesn't feel extreme to me. I know that for some people, it would feel really extreme for them to try to eliminate things like honey, beeswax, silk, wool, feeding their cats or pets a vegetarian diet. All these things seem very extreme. For me, they're a natural outgrowth of a long process of contemplating these questions and deciding what was right for me. And I think that it's important as vegans to not be dogmatic, but also present an intelligent argument to people that allows them to come to their own decision. I've had so many wonderful conversations with people, and the conversation always goes better when I listen, and I don't just blindly throw opinions at people. Also, not being over emotional about it, because really veganism is not an emotional issue. It's a very logical stance if you're doing it from a standpoint of animal rights. For me, it's all about logic. It's like, okay, if you start from a premise that non-human animals and human animals have the same moral value in terms of like the right to exist and not suffer, then it is very obvious that we do not act in ways that place us above them. It's not a squeamish thing, like, oh, I don't want to touch meat, or it's gross, or it's not an emotional thing, like, oh, I feel so sad for the animals. They have feelings too. Well, I don't know if they have feelings, but I know that they don't want to suffer. Anybody who hears a pig screaming right before slaughter knows that that animal doesn't want to die, just like you wouldn't want to die. So it's a logical conclusion for me to not exploit other beings. So I'm really appreciating the comments and the conversations that people are starting. Keep commenting, keep sharing the videos. Thank you guys so much. And spread the love for all beings, and do your best to live a compassionate life. Thanks. Bye.